sound disrupted the stillness of the quiet suburban street, the low roar of Harley engines slicing through the afternoon air like thunder echoing across a tranquil sky. 4 bikers cruised in, their black vests emblazoned with the fierce Hell's Angels logo, casting long shadows on the warm pavement. Neighbors peered from behind drawn curtains, mothers hurried children indoors, and even the wind appeared to pause. Yet amid the rumbling engines and heavy steel, a soft, trembling voice broke through, innocent and filled with desperation. "Sir, will you buy my bike?" The bikers slowed, engines humming quietly. At the edge of the sidewalk stood a little girl no older than 6, her messy light hair framing a face that belied her youth. Her dress was tidy, but her shoes told a different story. Next to her was a pink bicycle with a white basket, and in her hands she clutched a cardboard sign reading, "For sale." The smallest biker, perhaps the gentlest of the group, killed his engine and dismounted. The others followed, their heavy boots thudding against the pavement. He knelt down to meet her gaze, the chrome of his bike gleaming behind her like a reflection of a harsh world. Her name was Myra, and her eyes carried a weariness that no child should bear. In the distance, beneath a tree, an older woman sat slumped against the trunk, wrapped in a blanket, looking frail and pale. As Myra tightened her grip on the sign, she spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please, sir, Mommy hasn't eaten in 2 days. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in standing tall when the world turns away, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Stories like this remind us that compassion can still make a difference." The biker's name was Ryder, known as Wolf among his brothers, though the nickname felt inadequate. Beneath the tattoos and leather, he carried the weight of profound loss, a father who vanished, a son who never returned, and a faith in humanity that had withered. Yet, kneeling on that hot pavement, he felt something stir within him once more. He gently asked Myra to explain, and between shaky breaths and tiny tears, she shared her story. Her mother, Clara, had been employed at a local catering company owned by a respected man, Mr. Hensley, a CEO who graced magazine covers and generously donated to charities for publicity. When the company downsized, Clara was among those let go. She pleaded for just a few more weeks of work to support her daughter, but Hensley dismissed her, deeming her replaceable. Since then, Clara had been too weak to seek new employment. Bills mounted, the refrigerator stood empty, and her pride prevented her from asking for help. In a bid to provide food, Myra decided to sell her only toy, her pink bicycle. Ryder felt a surge of anger rise within him, snapping the final thread of restraint holding back years of pent-up frustration. His brothers Tank, Viper, and Mason recognized that look all too well. Without a word, they nodded in solidarity. Their feelings were not of pity, but of righteous fury, born from witnessing the innocent suffer under the weight of greed. Ryder reached into his vest, retrieved his wallet, and placed a handful of cash into Myra's trembling palm. "Keep the bike, kiddo," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. But this was not the end for him. He couldn't ride away knowing that powerful men had stripped everything from a mother and her child. He instructed Myra to stay with her mother, promising to return soon, and then the engines roared back to life. The Hell's Angels weren't saints, but they had their own sense of justice. They didn't resort to violence that day. Instead, they wielded the power of truth. They tracked down Hensley's office, a gleaming glass tower that stood as a monument to arrogance. The 4 men entered with the weight of thunder, their boots echoing against the marble floors. The receptionist froze, a look of alarm on her face. Ryder's gaze locked onto Hensley through the glass wall of his office, a man adorned with a gold watch, a false smile, with hands that had never toiled honestly. "What is this?" Hensley scoffed as they approached. Ryder didn't raise his voice. He simply placed the for sale sign on Hensley's immaculate desk, the same one Myra had held. "That," he said quietly, "is what your greed has cost." For the first time, the polished businessman appeared unsettled. Ryder recounted Myra's story, the mother starving beneath a tree, and the bicycle that held more value and love than all of Hensley's cars combined. Hensley attempted to defend his actions, mumbling about business and layoffs, but his excuses fell away as he saw the fire in the biker's eyes, not a criminal rage, but a moral outrage. They didn't need to inflict pain. Instead, Ryder leaned in closer and said, "You can't buy forgiveness, but you have a chance to do what's right." By sunset, the town buzzed with news of how the CEO who had once fired a struggling mother had anonymously donated a year's worth of groceries to those in need, cleared hospital debts for single parents, and rehired those he had wronged. The reason for his change of heart remained a mystery to all, except for a few rough men and a little girl with a pink bicycle. When Ryder and his brothers returned to the tree that evening, Myra ran to them, her eyes shining with happiness. Her mother Clara stood now, still weak but wearing a smile for the first time in weeks. As the light illuminated her face, Ryder noticed her hand tremble as she tried to express her gratitude. He simply nodded, tipping his head as the engines cooled beside them. "You don't owe us anything," he said. "Just promise you won't give up." They shared bread that night, the bikers, the woman, and the little girl who had sold her bike not for toys, but out of love. The sunset cast a golden glow on the chrome, the grass, and the cardboard sign now folded in Myra's lap. For a moment, the world felt less broken. If this story has moved you, if it reminds you that compassion can arise from the most unexpected places, please take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Every click helps spread stories of real kindness to those who need them most. And before we conclude, share your thoughts in the comments. What would you have done if you were in Ryder's position? Sometimes, it takes just one act of bravery to restore belief in kindness.